Astonishing paradox. The more successful a person becomes, the more often they experience moments of insecurity. Nobel Prize winners admit to constant doubts, acclaimed actors talk about stage fright before every performance, and seasoned company executives call insecurity their constant companion. It turns out that true confidence is not the absence of doubts, but the ability to act despite them. Welcome to the Nucleus Animi channel, where we explore the depths of human psychology and help you unlock your true potential. Today, we embark on an exciting journey toward unshakable self-confidence. Make sure to watch this video until the end, because we're not just going to share theory with you, we'll provide practical tools for building genuine, deep-seated confidence. The kind of confidence that doesn't crumble at the first signs of stress or failure. We'll show you how to turn your weaknesses into sources of strength and teach you techniques you can start applying today. If you're interested in self-development and want to regularly receive quality content like this, hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Now let's dive into the heart of the matter. Did you know that most people misunderstand the very nature of confidence? Many believe that confidence is an innate trait, a kind of gift possessed by the chosen few. However, recent research in brain neuroplasticity suggests otherwise. Our brains can form new neural connections at any age, and it is on this fundamental property that the possibility of developing true, unwavering confidence is built. Even more interesting, studies show that periods of insecurity and doubt are not obstacles to confidence, but necessary stages of growth. Just as muscles become stronger after exertion and recovery, our confidence strengthens after overcoming challenges and difficulties. Part 1. The nature of confidence. Before we dive into practical strategies for developing confidence, let's understand what this quality truly represents. Modern psychology defines confidence not just as a personality trait, but as a complex psychological construct consisting of several interconnected elements. It is both a state of mind, a skill, and a result of experience. At the core of confidence lies a special function of our brain. When we feel confident, a real chemical cocktail occurs in our body. The hormones dopamine and serotonin create a sense of well-being, and a reduced level of cortisol, the stress hormone, allows for clear thinking and balanced decision-making. This is not just theory. These are confirmed scientific facts that open up amazing opportunities for development. Interestingly, our brain does not distinguish between real and imagined experiences of success. Neurobiological studies show that visualizing a successful action activates the same brain areas as performing it in reality. That's why well-constructed mental practices can be as effective as real experiences. However, here we approach an important distinction between true and false confidence. False confidence is a fragile construct, built on external approval and temporary achievements. It's like a house of cards, impressive to look at, but ready to collapse at the slightest breeze. True confidence, on the other hand, is like a deeply rooted tree. It may bend in a storm, but will never break. In this context, the story of Elon Musk is particularly illustrative. Few know that at the beginning of his career, he suffered from serious self-doubt. In a rare 2015 interview, he admitted that he was bullied as a child and often doubted his abilities. But instead of letting this experience define his destiny, he used it as motivation for development. "I wasn't trying to appear confident," Musk said. "I was working on becoming competent. Confidence came as a byproduct." And here we come to debunking the first big myth about confidence. It doesn't come out of nowhere and isn't the result of positive thinking. True confidence is born from a combination of real experience, deep self-awareness, and the right attitude toward failures. The second myth that needs debunking. Confident people don't experience fear or doubts. This is fundamentally false. Observing successful leaders in business, politics, and other fields, we see that they experience as many doubts as anyone else. The difference is in how they work with these doubts. They have learned to use doubts as a tool for more thorough analysis and balanced decision-making, rather than letting them become obstacles to their goals. The third common myth: confidence must be constant and unchanging. In reality, it naturally fluctuates depending on the situation and context. Even the most successful people can feel insecure in new areas, and that's absolutely normal. An old Japanese proverb says, Fall 7 times, stand up 8. This wisdom perfectly illustrates another important aspect of confidence. It's not in the absence of falls, but in the ability to rise after them. Every failure, every obstacle overcome is not just an experience, it's a building block in the foundation of your confidence. Modern research in neuroplasticity confirms our brains literally restructure every time we overcome difficulties. New neural connections are formed. Existing patterns of successful behavior are reinforced. This means that every time we act despite fear, we are not just taking action, we are physically changing the structure of our brain. Confidence can be compared to a muscle. Just as we can't build biceps in a day at the gym, we can't instantly become confident. But just like regular workouts inevitably lead to muscle growth, consistent work on oneself inevitably leads to the growth of confidence. It's important to understand that confidence is not a final destination, but a constant process of growth and development. This doesn't mean you should constantly doubt yourself, but it's important to maintain a healthy balance between confidence and humility. As Socrates said, "I know that I know nothing, and in this admission lies profound wisdom and true confidence." Part 2. The roots of insecurity. To build a solid foundation of confidence, we must first deal with the sources of insecurity. It's like the work of an experienced gardener. Before planting new plants, you need to clear the soil of weeds. Let's explore the main roots of insecurity that can subtly undermine our self-belief. Studying the nature of insecurity, we can identify 3 main sources of its formation. The first is early experiences and upbringing. The second is social programming. And the third is accumulated experiences of failure. Each of these sources forms its unique patterns of behavior and thinking. Let's start with early experiences. In the first years of life, our brains are particularly receptive to external influences. Criticism, comparison with other children, excessive care, or conversely, a lack of attention, all leave a deep imprint on our psyche. It's like a computer operating system. Installed in childhood, it continues to operate in adult life, even if it no longer meets our needs. There is an old Native American tale about 2 wolves. An old man tells his grandson about a battle that takes place inside every person. He says, "Inside us live 2 wolves. One embodies fear, insecurity, and doubts. The other represents confidence, self-belief, and determination." The grandson asks, "Which wolf wins?" The old man replies, "The one you feed." This tale beautifully illustrates how our daily thoughts and decisions either strengthen insecurity or reinforce self-belief. Social programming and social media is the second powerful source of insecurity in the modern world. Constant comparison of oneself with filtered versions of other people's lives creates a distorted perception of reality and undermines our self-esteem. We see only carefully selected moments from other people's lives, forgetting that this is just a small part of their reality. But there are more subtle forms of social programming. Cultural stereotypes, societal expectations, even well-intentioned advice from loved ones can form limiting beliefs. We often accept these external standards as our own without even realizing it. Now let's talk about the experience of failures. It's important to understand one critical point. Failures themselves do not create insecurity. Insecurity is formed due to the incorrect interpretation of these failures. When we perceive failure as a final verdict on our abilities, rather than as a temporary obstacle or learning opportunity, we program our brains for insecurity. Dear viewers, let's take a short break and share our experiences. Write in the comments which of these sources of insecurity resonates with you the most. Your stories can help other viewers realize they are not alone in their struggles. Interestingly, our brains have an amazing ability for self-sabotage. When insecurity takes root, it begins to operate as a self-fulfilling prophecy. We expect failure. This expectation affects our behavior, which in turn leads to actual failures, confirming our fears. It's like a vicious circle, but fortunately, it can be broken. The story of the famous writer Stephen King is illustrative. His first novel, Carrie, received 30 rejections from publishers before it was published. But King didn't let these rejections define his fate. He continued to write and submit manuscripts until he achieved success. Today, he is one of the most successful writers in the world, having sold over 350 million copies of his books. Research in neurobiology shows that negative experiences leave a deeper imprint on our memory than positive ones. This is an evolutionary mechanism that helped our ancestors survive by avoiding dangers. But in the modern world, this feature of our brain can work against us, causing us to exaggerate the significance of failures and downplay our achievements. Another important aspect is what psychologists call the inner critic. This is the part of our psyche that constantly points out our flaws and imperfections. Interestingly, the power of this inner critic often has no connection to a person's real abilities or achievements. Often, the most successful people suffer from an especially harsh inner critic. Part 3, the foundation of confidence. Now that we've dealt with the roots of insecurity, let's lay a solid foundation for building genuine, unshakable confidence in ourselves. This process can be compared to constructing a skyscraper. The deeper and more reliable the foundation, the higher and more stable the building will be. The first cornerstone in this foundation is self-awareness, not a superficial understanding of your strengths and weaknesses, but a deep understanding of your true nature. It's like an archaeological excavation. Layer by layer, we uncover our true essence, hidden beneath layers of social mass and defense mechanisms. Brené Brown, a well-known researcher of human nature, after decades of studying confidence and vulnerability, came to an astounding conclusion. She says, "Confidence is born not from the absence of fear and doubt, but from the willingness to be vulnerable. The most confident people are those who acknowledge their imperfections and accept themselves wholly, with all their strengths and weaknesses." The second crucial element of the foundation is working with the inner dialogue. Our brains generate about 60,000 thoughts a day, and research shows that for most people, up to 80% of these thoughts are negative. Imagine having someone next to you all day constantly criticizing every action you take. How long could you maintain confidence? That's exactly what we do to ourselves, allowing toxic inner dialogue to undermine our self-belief. The story of Michelle Obama, which she shared in her autobiography, Becoming, serves as a perfect illustration of how even the most successful people face insecurity. The question, "Am I good enough?" accompanied her throughout her life, during her studies at Princeton, at every interview, during her years as a lawyer, during election campaigns, and even after her husband became president. This question arose in both major moments and small ones, during TV appearances and private conversations. She admits that it's one of the most useless questions that can exist, just as unproductive as it is common. A link to this delightful book, as well as other useful resources, can be found in the description below the video. The third key element is creating a solid system of values. Imagine a compass that always points north, regardless of weather conditions and external disturbances. Our values are such an internal compass, helping us maintain direction even in the most challenging situations. When we act in accordance with our true values, confidence arises naturally because we know we are true to ourselves. Let's perform a simple yet powerful exercise. Take a pause right now and ask yourself, what truly matters to me? What principles am I unwilling to compromise even under pressure? Write down the first answers that come to mind. These don't have to be philosophical truths. They can be anything from honesty to creative freedom. The main thing is that these values are truly yours, not imposed from outside. The fourth element of the foundation is developing emotional intelligence. Research shows that people with high emotional intelligence demonstrate more stable self-confidence. Why? Because they better understand their emotional reactions and know how to manage them, instead of allowing emotions to control them. Here, the practice of an emotional journal is particularly useful. Every evening, spend 5 minutes recording your main emotional experiences of the day. Don't judge them as good or bad. Just observe and note. Over time, you'll start noticing patterns and triggers that affect your confidence. The fifth element is creating an achievement bank. Our brains tend to downplay our successes and exaggerate failures. This is an evolutionary mechanism that once helped us survive, but now it can significantly undermine our confidence. Create a special folder or file where you'll collect all evidence of your achievements. Thank you letters, certificates, photos of successful projects. screenshots of positive reviews. In moments of doubt, this achievement bank will become your anchor of confidence. It's important to understand that building a foundation of confidence is not a one-time action, but a continuous process. It's like regular workouts at the gym. Results don't come immediately, but if you practice consistently, they are inevitable. And just like in sports, there are basic exercises here that we must perform regularly. The first such exercise is the practice of unconditional self-acceptance. Every morning, looking in the mirror, say to yourself, "I accept myself completely, with all my strengths and weaknesses." At first, this may feel unnatural or even provoke internal resistance. That's normal. Continue the practice, and gradually it will begin to feel more genuine. The second exercise is a daily gratitude practice. Every evening, write down 3 things you are grateful for about yourself, not to other people or circumstances, but to yourself. It can be anything, from making a difficult decision to taking care of your health. This practice helps reprogram the brain from seeking flaws to recognizing your own value. The third exercise is regular checking of our actions' alignment with our values. At the end of each week, ask yourself, to what extent did my actions this week align with my true values? This helps maintain internal integrity, which is a powerful source of confidence. Part 4. Strategies for developing confidence. Now that we have a solid foundation, let's look at specific strategies that will help us build a skyscraper of confidence. These methods are validated by both scientific research and the real experiences of thousands of people who have successfully overcome insecurity. The first strategy is the method of micro-wins. This approach is based on a neurobiological fact. Every time we achieve even a small success, our brain releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter of pleasure and motivation. Accumulating these small victories creates a positive cycle, gradually strengthening our confidence. What's the essence of the method? Start by setting tiny, easily achievable goals, so small that they might seem laughable. Want to start exercising? Begin with 1 squat a day. Want to write a book? Start with 1 sentence. Seems trivial? That's the point. When the goal is so small, our brains don't activate defense mechanisms and resistance. The Japanese call this approach kaizen, continuous improvement through small steps. It's like the story of bamboo. In the first 4 years after planting, Chinese bamboo hardly grows. All development occurs underground, where a powerful root system is formed. But in the 5th year, it suddenly starts growing at a rate of 1 meter a day. Our confidence develops according to a similar principle. Initially, changes are imperceptible, but they create a solid foundation for future explosive growth. The second strategy is visualization technique. Numerous studies in sports psychology show that visualization can significantly improve performance and help develop skills. When applied correctly, it becomes a powerful tool for developing confidence. Here's a simple exercise. Imagine a situation where you usually feel insecure. Now imagine yourself confident in this situation. How do you stand? How do you move? How does your voice sound? What thoughts run through your mind? Feel this state with your whole body. Regular practice of such visualization creates new neural connections that activate when you encounter a similar situation in reality. The third strategy is bodily practices. Our body and mind are inextricably linked. Research shows that our posture affects not only how others perceive us, but also the hormone levels in our bodies. The famous study by Amy Cuddy proved that just 2 minutes in a power pose, shoulders back, head up, open posture, can significantly increase testosterone levels and reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone. But it's not just about posture. The overall state of the body is important. Regular physical exercise, proper breathing, sufficient sleep, all directly affect our level of confidence. The box breathing technique is particularly effective. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts. This simple practice helps quickly regain calm and confidence in stressful situations. The fourth strategy is social experiments. This is controlled stepping out of your comfort zone in safe conditions. Start small. Strike up a conversation with a stranger in an elevator, voice your opinion in a meeting, record a video for social media. Each such experiment is a vaccination against insecurity. An interesting fact: research shows that people who fear public speaking overestimate the visibility of their anxiety to the audience by an average of 50%. What seems to us an obvious manifestation of insecurity often goes unnoticed by others. Psychologists call this phenomenon the spotlight effect. The fifth strategy is working with objections from the inner critic. Imagine your inner critic as a lawyer trying to prove your incompetence. Your task is to become the defense attorney. Every time the inner critic makes an accusation, find objective evidence of its falsehood. It's helpful to keep a diary of such dialogues. In one column, write down the critical thoughts; in the other, objective rebuttals. For example, I won't be able to handle this project. I successfully completed 3 similar projects last year. Over time, you'll notice that the arguments of the inner critic become less convincing. The sixth strategy: creating a supportive environment. Jim Rohn once said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Research confirms that confidence is contagious. By surrounding ourselves with confident individuals, we unconsciously adopt their patterns of thinking and behavior. However, it's important to understand that this doesn't mean cutting off all old connections. Instead, gradually expand your social circle to include people who inspire you and support your growth. Join professional communities, find like-minded individuals, and seek mentors. Interacting with confident people, even through watching their talks or reading their stories, can inspire us and help build our own confidence. By observing successful examples, we learn new behavior models and expand our understanding of what's possible. Part 5. Action Plan. Now let's put all the strategies we've learned into a concrete action plan, because even the most effective techniques are useless without a clear system for implementing them in life. True confidence comes through action. It's a universal law of personal development. Every time we act despite fear and doubt, we strengthen our confidence. History is full of examples where people, when faced with failures and rejections, didn't let these experiences undermine their self-belief. Instead, they developed a step-by-step development plan and followed it methodically. The key to their success wasn't innate confidence, but a willingness to act and learn from their experiences. So here's your 30-day plan for building unshakable confidence. Why 30 days? Studies show that this time frame is sufficient for forming basic habits and seeing the first noticeable results without seeming overwhelmingly long. The first week is dedicated to laying the foundation. Every morning, start with a 5-minute self-acceptance practice. In the evening, spend 10 minutes writing in a journal, noting at least 3 positive moments from the day. Remember, they can be very small. The key is consistency. The second week is time for social experiments. Start with 1 mini challenge a day. It could be anything: ordering coffee in a new way, wearing brighter clothes, or expressing your opinion in a meeting. The key point is to act despite discomfort. The third week focuses on the body. Implement the box breathing technique at least 3 times a day. Practice the power pose before important events. Add simple physical activity. Even a 10-minute brisk walk can boost your confidence level. The fourth week is about integrating all practices and working on your internal dialogue. By this point, you'll have a solid base of positive experiences to draw from for deeper mindset transformation. It's important to understand that setbacks and relapses are inevitable. They're a normal part of the process. Research shows that people who view setbacks as part of the journey rather than failures achieve better long-term results. To track your progress, use a simple yet effective system. Create a confidence scale from 1 to 10 and rate yourself every evening. Note not just the number, but also the specific situations that influenced your rating. Over time, you'll start noticing patterns and triggers that affect your confidence. Remember, building confidence is not a linear process. There will be ups and downs, periods of rapid growth, and plateaus. That's normal. The main thing is to maintain consistency in practice and remember that every small action brings you closer to your goal. And one more important point: don't wait until you feel ready. Readiness comes through action. As Mark Twain said, courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. The same goes for confidence. It's not the absence of doubt, but the ability to act despite it. Summing up our deep dive into building unshakable confidence, let's recall the key points we've covered. We've learned that confidence isn't an innate quality, but a skill that can and should be developed. Just like a sculptor creates a masterpiece from shapeless stone, each of us can create a confident version of ourselves. We've examined the nature of confidence and understood that it's built not on denying fears and doubts, but on the ability to act despite them. We've explored the roots of insecurity and learned how to transform them into sources of strength. We've laid a solid foundation of self-awareness, a healthy internal dialogue, and a clear value system. But most importantly, we've gained concrete, practical tools for developing confidence. From the method of micro-victories to visualization techniques, from physical practices to social experiments, you now have a whole arsenal of proven strategies for building unshakable self-belief. Remember, the path to confidence is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't aim for instant results. Every small step, every minor action is a building block in the foundation of your future confidence. As Vincent van Gogh said, "Great things are done by a series of small things brought together." Use the knowledge you've gained, experiment with different techniques, and find what works best for you. And remember, true confidence doesn't shout about itself. It calmly and naturally manifests in your actions, decisions, and interactions with the world. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to our channel and give it a thumbs up. It will help others find this information and start their journey to true deep confidence. In the comments, share your experiences. What techniques have you tried? What works for you? And what challenges do you face? Your experience can be invaluable to those just starting this journey. Thank you for being with us. See you next time on the Nucleus Animi.